appreciate that continence issues can cause a great deal of anxiety for both parents and children. But don't worry, you're not alone. There's a number of tried and tested techniques you can use to get on track, and we're here to help. You might be surprised to learn that around 28% of children experience continence problems. So what exactly do we mean by continence? Well, quite simply, it's the ability to control your bladder and bowels. Your bladder is basically a muscular sac, a bit like a crumpled bag, and like any other muscle, you need to train and strengthen it to get it working properly by regular fluid intake and toileting. When the bladder is full, it sends a signal to the brain to tell us to empty it, basically going for a wee. To help keep our bladder strong and healthy, we need to drink regularly and wee regularly. It's really important to empty the bladder fully, so make sure your child doesn't rush going to the toilet and empties their bladder completely. We're all different, and the amount our bladder can hold differs too. A typical 7-year-old child's bladder can hold about 240 millilitres, about the size of a small cup. The bladder usually matures at around 2 to 3 years of age, and a child can become dry. Going for a wee about 6 to 8 times a day is a good guide, and drinking around 6 to 8 water-based drinks will help keep the bladder healthy. And just bear in mind that your urine should be a pale yellow colour. Caffeinated drinks, for example, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, energy drinks, cola and fizzy drinks should be avoided, as they can contribute to bladder overactivity. Milk is healthy but is used by the body as a food. It should not be encouraged instead of or as part of total water-based drinks. If your child is wet during the daytime, a good first step is to get them checked out by your GP, just to make sure that there are no underlying medical issues. Believe it or not, one of the main reasons for wetting is not drinking enough and ignoring the signal to go for a wee. When we drink, our bladder fills and sends a message to our brain, "I need to empty." The brain then sends a message telling us to go to the toilet. It's this process that's repeated at least 6 to 8 times a day, which helps increase how much the bladder can hold and also strengthens the bladder, as well as increasing the strength of the signal from the bladder to the brain telling us we need to wee. As parents, we all know that children can get really engrossed in things and also be easily distracted. Sometimes they get so engrossed that they ignore the signal from their brains telling them to wee. Keep an eye out for the telltale signs that your child needs the loo. You know the sort of thing, hopping up and down, rocking from side to side. This is all very well when they're with you, but when they're at school, it can be a bit trickier. There are a number of reasons why children don't go to the toilet at school. But if they don't wee regularly, the bladder just becomes stretched but not strengthened, and this can cause problems. Some children may have an irritable bladder. This is when the bladder signals it needs to empty before it's full. You might notice your child going to the toilet in a hurry many times a day. Another cause of wetting can be UTIs or urinary tract infections. Look out for signs of this and be sure to see your GP to get it checked out. Constipation can also be a factor, as full bowels can cause pressure on the bladder, which may lead to wetting. Anxiety and stress can also be a possible cause, so it's a really good idea to sit down with your child and talk about things in an open and straightforward manner. Your child can start by emphasizing all the positive things they can do that other children might not be able to do. This helps them understand that children develop at different speeds, and one child might be quick to catch on to one thing, but slower with something else. This is a good time to remind your child to drink regularly and go for a wee as soon as they feel the urge. Maybe the use of a reward system could help here to get them to remember. So, what can we do about it? If you think constipation or a UTI may be the issue, then make sure you contact your GP. If you think your child has an overactive bladder, then again, contact your GP. Remember to make sure your child has enough water-based drinks throughout the day, increasing them gradually, as they ideally should be drinking 6 to 8 drinks. There's a few ways you can vary your child's drinks to keep them motivated. Don't be afraid to mix things up and keep it interesting. To help things along at school, fill their water bottle before they go and suggest times during the day they could have a drink. If your child isn't drinking enough, a good way to check how they're doing is to put a line on the water bottle about a quarter of the way down, maybe with some tape, and encourage them to drink to the mark. You can then move the mark down gradually, encouraging them to drink more. So, how much should your child be drinking during the day, I hear you ask? Well, here's a chart to show you. And this is what 1,000 milliliters looks like. Finally, here's some top toilet tips to help you out. Ensure that smaller children have an insert seat and stool, so they're able to sit comfortably, well supported, and with their feet on a firm surface. When your child is on the toilet, once they've had a wee, get them to count to 10 and try again. Encourage boys to occasionally sit to wee, as sometimes this can help empty the bladder. Alarm reminders can help. Try setting them on your watch or on your phone. If you see your child holding on, rather than saying, "Do you need the toilet?" say, "You need to go to the toilet now, please." You can make things easy for them by making sure they wear clothing that's easy to get off to go to the loo. And remember, most important of all, try and stay calm and not worry too much. Your child can pick up on any anxious signs you give, and this may hinder their progress. Remember, your child isn't doing this on purpose, and together you can work through this and get it sorted.